One of the understated absurdities of the lockdowns and restrictions and bannings from the grab bag of random regulations from which we draw to make ourselves feel good is turning business owners into policemen. Not only do we throw a mass of new and constantly changing rules at business owners, but we make them enforce them too. Everyone has to wear a mask and socially distance and pray to Fauci 5 times a day. And if they don't, it's not necessarily the individual violators who get fined. It's the business owner where it happened. If you punch someone at a grocery store, you get charged. If you steal someone's wallet at a grocery store, you get charged. But if you don't wear a mask at a grocery store, the grocery store gets charged for failing to stop you. It's just another way our approach in this context has been twisted totally and nonsensically backward. So we don't just make businesses responsible for following the rules, we make them responsible for enforcing them too. That is a new job with new work, but of course, we don't pay them for it. We just club them if they don't do that job. And you know, there's a word for forced labor like that, but draw your own conclusions. In California, that mandated police work has become a problem as it relates to the outdoor dining ban. As we saw with Nick the Greek in Ventura, it's not enough for a restaurant just not to serve people outside. The restaurant has to actively police any seating in the area to make sure nobody incidentally enjoys a seated refreshment, even if the restaurant didn't direct people to sit there, and even if the restaurant didn't serve anybody at those seats. Besides being constitutionally suspect, besides forcing businesses to do labor they don't otherwise do, besides having absolutely zero evidence to show this is even a problem at all, as they admit is the case, as usual, this is somehow only a problem at your local mom and pop shops. Go into Walmart and buy a Snickers and unwrap it and eat it on a bench outside. That's not an issue at all. But it is a problem when you do the same thing with a gyro from Nick the Greek, or in this case, a sandwich from Bread and Barley. Are those items uniquely corona infected? No, of course not. It's just that the ownership at Walmart is much more difficult to bully. And that is what we're watching. The selective intimidation and coercion into compliance is definitional bullying. And the tested and proven way to beat a bully is to hit him back. It's to use his own tactics against him. So when another health department bully showed up to cite his restaurant, Bread and Barley in Covina outside of LA, that's exactly what owner Carlos Roman did. He took his truck and he blocked that bully in, and he said, hey, if I can't work, he can't work.
This guy's saying that you can't work?
Yes. Health department.
The health department?
Yeah, he decided to come today and take pictures of people outside and say that you gotta fine us and we can't work out here. So if we can't work, he can't work.
Carlos's supposed violation is a failure to do that police work. It's his failure to do the city and county's job for them. So this health department goon shows up to take pictures and cite Carlos for his failure to shoo people away from a bench outside of his restaurant on which people were sitting and eating. Now, it's silly enough to force him to police illegal sitting in general, but in this case, it's not even his property. The bench in question is the city's.
We can't do outdoor dining. We can't serve food to go. No one can sit outside. No one can sit on the fucking city bench in front of the restaurant. I have a patio on city property. It's not even my property. And he has to come in. He wants me to be the police. He said if anyone is sitting on a fucking bench in front of your place, you have to tell them to leave. I'm not you. That ain't my fucking job.
The police aren't there to enforce the health department's tyranny, per se. The police are there, ironically, because this health department worker's job and property are being obstructed. See, he's just doing his job, making sure other people can't do theirs. The police are saying this lacking any awareness of the blatant hypocrisy.
What is it worth you getting your car towed for somebody who has a job?
This guy doesn't get to go do his job all day.
He has a job.
Do you have a job?
We all have jobs.
She can't do hers.
We all have jobs. You're blocking somebody who has a job.
In the meantime, what does this person that have a job does? What does she do?
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you. What does my employees do? They have jobs.
You're blocking someone who has a job. Yes, that is the origin of this entire conflict. If you stop people who block people who have jobs, arrest that damn health department nerd. That's all he does all day long. It's what he'll continue to do as soon as you free up his car. And we're defending this clown's job at the expense of everyone else's. As Carlos explains, it's not even strictly about him and the principles of his rights and his freedoms. It's about the economic realities for his employees, too.
This is what happens
He's not
when
gonna go
people
anywhere.
get desperate.
He's not going to go.
I'm desperate.
He's not
Who's gonna pay her parking lot? Who's gonna pay my cook's rent? What do I tell my employees? Do you know the consequences? They can't pay their bills. This isn't about me. They can't pay their bills. The cook just had a baby. He's with his family right now. He just had a
Hey,
baby.
sir.
Just doing your job isn't an excuse for you, though. It's only an excuse for them. Unable to explain or justify this insane hypocrisy, the police just double down on the nonsense to protect themselves. Yeah, sure, it makes no sense, but hey, I have a job to do, and I have a family to provide for. By stopping other people from doing the same for theirs.
Are you able to do yours?
I have a job.
Did the health department come and say, sorry, you can't do your
I
job?
don't agree with the things that my job does, but I have to do them, okay? Because I have to provide for my family.
We don't even have a job to provide
I
for our
understand, but
family.
this is not the way to go about it.
What
okay?
is?
You gotta
Give
move
me a
your
better
car.
way.
I have a job to do for my family justifies all of my nonsense, but it certainly doesn't justify you just standing idly by while someone eats a dangerous sandwich on the street. Anything short of choking a bitch for this sort of insane hypocrisy is commendable restraint, so credit to Carlos. In the end, Carlos did move his truck, reports say, so that was the end of this police encounter. And while he did excuse them of violent retaliation, that doesn't excuse these police of their moral cowardice. Back the blue, the saying goes, urging respect and support for those who put their lives on the line to defend our rights. And I agree. But the second part of that phrase is just as important as the first. Defending our rights matters just as much as putting your life on the line to do it. Defending our rights is why we back the blue. And when our rights are being violated, it's time for the blue to back us. That is their only legitimate purpose. Anything else is a betrayal. Yes, doing your job often means doing things you don't personally agree with. Yes, doing your job means taking orders. But every rule has its exception, and pure adherence to orders is moral blindness. If the police department or the health department ordered you to kill someone in cold blood, if they ordered you to jump off a bridge, you wouldn't do it. Yes, those are extreme examples, but they illustrate the point. There are some moral lines you won't cross, regardless of orders. So the question is, what is your line? Where is it drawn? What won't you do? Every police officer enabling and engaging in this sort of behavior has to answer those questions for himself. And there's certainly a debate about where that line is, but here are some rules of thumb for consideration. If just doing your job to support your family is your justification, it can't possibly be morally justified to shut down the other guy for doing the exact same thing. If you collect a paycheck to block or steal other people's paychecks, there is no moral honesty in the job that you're just doing. If your livelihood is built on the forcible extraction of other people's productivity, it's not just morally wrong to obstruct that productivity, it's self-defeating anyway. If you end the flow of cash that is taxed to write your paycheck, soon enough, your job gets the axe too. That's the point Carlos was making in trying to reason his case.
And then when they say all you can do is outside, it's impossible to even break even. I have to put money out of my savings every month just to keep it going. But you know what? My employees and everybody, it's worth to me. Then when they say you can't do outdoor anymore, done. There's no more bread and barley. You guys won't have a place to police. You won't have a fucking place to inspect anymore.
Just following orders confuses who you serve. To protect and to serve doesn't refer to the health department. It doesn't refer to the police chief. It doesn't refer to the government at all, actually. It refers to the people. That's what the badge means, and that's what the oath swears. You don't feed your family by stopping us from feeding ours. You only ensure that nobody gets fed, and that's exactly where this sort of morally blind policing takes us. The destruction of everybody. Police included. Maybe police get one extra day's meal in that arrangement with the money they took from us yesterday, but you better make it good. Make it an expensive steak and a finely aged wine. Because if you keep doing this crap, nobody's wealth will be around to buy tomorrow's. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel always. Appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.